need help, you can also help.
Absolutely cool. Give it up to Professor O'Leary. I don't know if he'll introduce himself.
Is he here?
He is here.
Yes,
Yes,
he
he
is.
is.
Yeah, you just muted.
Oh, I'm here.
There he is.
I'm just letting you guys have your fun, doing your thing. So for those of you who don't know, it says I run the math department. Yeah, I'm a mathematician by trade. I have been coaching the cybersecurity team since 2003. And I've taken teams to the national finals for the collegiate cyber defense competition 3 different times. So listen to these guys. If you are new, they know what they're doing. And if you got questions, ask me.
Awesome. Absolutely. So brief overview of what we do is we participate in a lot of various cyber competitions, most notably the Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition, CCDC, Pros v Joes, which is another major competition. So sometimes it happens in Vegas, sometimes it happens in other areas, and CPTC, which is a penetration testing competition. The main influence of our club is to follow the passion of learning in the field of cybersecurity. We do a lot of things ranging from system administration, incident response, networking architectures, firewalls, offensive security, and a whole lot more. I guess next slide.
Cool. Actually, I just want to add on to this. Yeah, so yeah, CCDC is really fun with a blue team. Pros v Joes is a little more interesting too, because there's also a purple phase, so you're gonna attack other teams, get attacked by other teams, while still versing a red team all concurrently. And Pros v Joes is like our favorite practice for CCDC. CCDC is really hard, but it's a lot of fun, and we want to get as many people as we can in. The yeah, the limit for the team is 8 plus 4 people on reserve in case any of the 8 can't make it. And Hive Storm, this is a really great beginner one. So it's like the precursor to CCDC in a way, because it's not active defense. It's more like post analysis. Excuse me. So you're gonna see So you're just gonna go in. You can do some scans, check for what's been attacked on the system, see what went wrong, and write a report on it. And then Cyberforce, this one we're going to do for the first time, and it's also going to be a incident response. Last year it was hosted by the Department of Energy. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're going to learn a lot. But I really encourage Hivestorm to be the first for many people, and I don't believe there's a team limit on how many we can have either.
Just to add on to that, RJ. So for Pros v Joes, both me and RJ are staff of the organization. It's a charity called CTF Factory Incorporated. They actually make an application and software for sticking up and standing up different capture the flag types of competitions. And for those who don't know what a capture the flag is, in cybersecurity, capture the flags are sort of little competitions that are usually like Jeopardy points based. You complete these different challenges, get more points for your teams, et cetera, et cetera. Joe's is different in how RJ explained, and also we have very close ties to them. So we are urging everybody that when these competitions pop up, let alone CCDC, CPTC, Hivestorm, Cyberforce, and all the others that may pop up, including NCL, Pros v Joe should definitely be the one that sticks out because it's free.
今天中午吃稀饭怎么样？
All right.
把
Let's
昨天
move
那
on
个
to the next one. Excellent. So our major thing for newbies is to actually no, how to practice. So we have a thing with Towson. They have a connection where we can get specific software that usually would cost with a subscription a whole lot of money, but we can get it for free because we're a institution. And so for us, our beginners practice to just start out is to download VMware. You can download and install Windows Server 2012, CentOS, and then setting it up with basic configurations like installing an Active Directory and configuring CentOS for WordPress or basic situations. and then learn basic networking such as IVP4 or basic net routing and subnetting.
Networking's going to help you a lot with this stuff, but if you want even more beginner projects, feel free to email or just Slack any of us, Discord, anywhere. We just want everyone to learn as much as we can. And these next few weeks, we're going to go over some basic system setup, setting up VMware, which is just like a virtualization environment. So it's just like an emulator for a computer. So this way you don't destroy your real one. I know someone that accidentally installed Windows Server 2012 R2 on their computer. So we're going to make sure that doesn't happen again.
All right. Next one. So our major for beginners, even beginners and some and veterans as well. There's a competition called National Cyber League. It happens every fall and I believe every spring as well. And if you are, it doesn't matter if you're a newbie or if you are a veteran. NCL does have many different types of skills that you can learn, and with each competition, it's more of like a, I think it's like a Jeopardy style kind of competition where they give you certain tasks to do and you have to complete them, and believe you get I think about a week, 1 week to complete all of the different tasks that they require. Some of them they have is cryptography, exploitation, web exploitation, OSINT, which is one of my favorites, which is just open source intelligence, and many more. Sometimes they do one random or new type of objective to do, but usually those are the main ones that they've always do, and it's a lot of fun. There's individual based competition where you can do it by yourself, and there's also a group based competition for which I believe you need four I think or more members on your team in order to compete, and you get to compete globally as well for individual and team based, and it's a lot of fun. I highly recommend you try. And the fee I think is like 25 in the early stage, but then later on it gets more as the date comes on. But the highest I think it goes is $35.
Yeah, you're right. It's 35, and the gymnasium for NCL is really awesome because like it'll show you too how to solve various things if you don't know. Just earn points too, but yeah, this is just probably one of the best beginner ones too. Besides Hive Storm, you really just get into like the basics of all CTFs that we do. And we do other CTFs during the year. Like, UMBC hosted one, UMD, Montgomery County Community College, MPCC, and this one's the best part. This really helped me when I was 3 when I did those first last year and freshman year.
All right, so
Cool. So now here's our current schedule. So week 1, which is today, we're just gonna do the just basic overview. We want to go over the club overview and the virtual environment setup. So we're gonna do this all excuse me, through VMware. And in Discord, I created a beginner channel, and I'll also share these links too for everything. Put them in there of where to actually download VMware, so we can set everything up together. And week 2 is exploitation, and I know a lot of you love this stuff. So we're gonna do exploitation demo, like a little bit of pen testing with Metasploit, which is like a framework basically designed for like college kids just to have fun with like basic attacks. And I hate to say it, but kind of like a script kiddie, but it's the best intro to like real pen testing. And we're also going to work with Empire, which Towson University student was one of the contributors of this project, and it is awesome for when you're attacking Windows and want to get back in the system to establish persistence. And in week 3, this is where the good stuff happens too. Introduction to defense. So we're going to go over some basic defense techniques, hardening, how to detect if someone is on your system, and what to do, how to get them off, and how to keep them out. And then week 4, we're going to do some more Linux exploitation with VulnHub. My friend Josh there is an absolute master with this. And then week 5, we're going to work on creating a pen testing environment from scratch too, and also go back to some stuff we worked with week 3, because a great way to learn how to defend. is how to learn to attack. And building stuff from the ground up, hands on keyboard. Dr. O'Leary emphasizes this all the time. And he's absolutely right. Just building something from the ground up, you know the insides, the outs, because you get to build your network, your hypervisor, your systems. And if you know something, you can just defend it. And then week 6, we're just going to continue from here on and all the other weeks, continuing with building our environment, go over more defense attack techniques. And we're also going to go over some GitHub essentials. So I'm not sure if everyone here knows it, but GitHub is like a repository, and Git itself is version control. And yeah, so I know some people might know, but we'll really get into it in week 6. Any of my other friends have anything they want to add on to this?
I know like later on to the weeks as we progress, there's a lot more weeks that we're gonna have to cover. But later on into it, there's gonna be a lot of competitions that are gonna heap up in a way. Even though it's COVID, a lot of the competitions will be online. So some of our focus is going to be shift a little bit towards pushing people to go for those competitions. But for the people that's not, we're going to also still have stuff that's happening. So, and I personally am going to record them. So if you miss out, it's perfectly fine. I can just post it. But for the most part, it's going to be focusing because I think a bunch of CTFs are happening around October and November, some in December, but mostly November and October. So, yep.
Yeah, don't worry. At the beginning, we'll be pretty hand holding, but you'll see that does kind of go away quick, but no need to fear. We're all here. And yeah, so we're just going to mix in like people like have a little more experience with some of the new people, and you'll see it's like an army. You just really build up your strength, get your battle hardened troops, and win.
And also, I do want to keep a note. Do not be afraid at all to ask questions because it is very important. You please do ask questions. We don't want anyone to be lost. And I know it can be overwhelming at times, especially. So just please don't be afraid to ask us. You can hit us up on Discord or Slack if you're on there. We'll definitely be glad to help.
And now here I posted the links for the stuff that we're going to be using and some of the CTFs. So yeah, here's VMware. You actually should just be able to put in your Towson credentials. If not, I'm not sure if it's new. They were going on some funky stuff with this, but you might have to request an account. But when I did it, it was like granted within like 3 days, and you get VMware, yeah, Workstation 15 Pro, and for Macs, you're gonna want to download Fusion. I forgot the current version that's on there, but you'll see. It's just like a green box, and that's what we're gonna be using.
About the VMware on the hub thing. So there's a little bit of a change between last year and this year. Sam Houston is the director of resources for the CIS department. Usually, in previous years, we would have to go to him and give him every single username we want to be able to download VMware or anything that was like on the CIS on the hub site. Now, he went ahead and put every student that's in the major in there. So if you experience any problems with that, please let me know. Like if you can't just register and log in, or if you can't sign in and log in, like if you've kind of exhausted your options and don't really know what the hell is happening, please shoot me a message so I can relay that information. That's all.
All right. I guess it was. We're gonna do our. Well, are we gonna do our demo for opening a network, or are we just gonna start asking? It's like if anyone has any questions.
Yeah, I'll do questions in a sec. I just want to add one last thing. Sorry, I know I'm a blabbermouth.
That's fine.
All right. So first, yeah. So this is a great place. We really do share a bunch of stuff. You'll see it more commonly on Slack. So here's the link to the Slack: ccdc-tu.slack.com, and you're gonna want to email Dr. O'Leary. He's Slack admin, so that's his email: moleary@towson.edu. I post all the stuff in general after too. But yeah, just so we can get everyone in there and get talking. Cool.
All right.
RJ, I would post this PowerPoint either on the Slack or in here, depending on the file size limit of Discord. I'm not entirely sure if it'll pass.
Yeah, I'll just generate the shareable link. I know Towson's kind of funky, so you might have to view it with your Towson email.
Yeah. And another thing before we kind of go to questions. So most of those demos are geared towards people who are kind of new towards a lot of this and don't necessarily know what the demos are or what is going on in the demos. If you have experience in this field, or if you have just experience in cybersecurity in general, and you kind of get a little bored, do not hesitate to start individual projects. That is what we love to propagate. We love to propagate this research and this mindset that just because you're a student, you can do so many great things within the field of research and development and information in cyber. Like, if you're working on a private project, post it. Like, get interest, right? We are trying to push this passion and make sure that everybody in doing their projects or their research or development or whatever they're doing is having, a decent time. And if you have questions on your own private research and you think that you like somebody in this group could help, then don't hesitate to post it. We could set up a questions channel. That's all.
All right. Awesome. I think we'll head into this segment of questions. I don't know. How do you want to administer this? You want to just do it through the non-mic chat, or should we just do this through voice chat? I don't know. Voice chat could be a little bit funky.
Yeah, let's do the non-mic chat, and don't be shy.
Yeah. So, if you guys have any questions, anybody has any questions, please post it on the non-mic chat, and we'll gladly answer them. What? Okay. So we got one that from John saying, "What channel do you post project ideas / requests for comment and advice on them?" And
Yeah, so I just made a projects channel. That is a great suggestion. Thank you, John.
okay, another question. Have you guys ever used Docker or Docker containers? Actually, I can answer this question. Yes, I have. I've used Docker multiple times for many different things. I've been personally been hold back on a one project that I was trying to use Rocket Chat to try to figure out how to exploit Rocket Chat with this one bot project that I will get into later. But I've used Docker for it many of times. I've learned the basics of Docker, which I'm still getting into it more, but I've used Docker before, definitely. And then Navix asks, do I need a Windows computer for any activities done in this club? Actually, no. I mean, if you have a Linux computer, a Mac, Windows, all you really need is a computer that is capable of virtualization, which meaning that like it's has the specs to do it, 64-bit. If you got it, that's perfectly fine. You don't need. That's fine if you have a Mac. That's perfectly fine for that. You just need to use VMware Fusion for that, and for the most part, you'll be fine. That's good. Okay, Lando. Oh well, that just answers the questions for Navix. Is there any practical reason to use VMware over VirtualBox for non-professional purpose? Honestly, it's like it really is in between. Like I have on my personal computer, and some of us even here, but have both VMware and VirtualBox because some standards can get different. In some areas, they prefer it because it's the more professional side. Other areas, like VirtualBox, people prefer it because it's just overall better and you can do a whole lot more. So, I personally have both installed. You can too if you want to, but some things have different standards depending upon the competition too, because some competitions won't even do VirtualBox for some odd reason. But it is what it is.
So, if I might add on to that question, there is a lot of documentation and video references and like YouTube installing or stuff like that on both of the systems. VMware is I think the word for it is proprietary or enterprise. I don't know.
I think proprietary.
One of those words. It's used a bit more in professional use, whereas VirtualBox is like a way to say, hey, here's a free thing to compete with VMware. Or I don't know which came first. Who knows? But VirtualBox is virtually just as easy to use, pun intended. But VMware, a lot of the stuff we do, I personally use VMware on my Windows systems, but VirtualBox on my Linux systems. Talk about that. Anyways.
Okay. So for Clarence, he asked, "Can the club help me hook up with cyber internships and jobs?" Yes. On our news, which I'm going to be posting there too, constantly. There is a lot of internships that be posted. There's a lot of conferences and talks that will be posted on there that contains a lot of interesting job opportunities for students like us. So
On the Slack, there's also a jobs channel where people post jobs and internships.
okay. See. Navix, zero experience, such good at joining this. Okay, that's fine. I mean, you don't have to have any experience to join the club. You can join with no experience, and we'll definitely teach you. We do not mind that at all. That's perfectly fine. So, any more questions? I don't think so.
Oh, someone's typing.
I think I'm gonna go ahead and create an offset and a couple different channels and start posting like hacker exploit videos, or how to download exploit on a Linux VM, or
Definitely.
just some stuff to get started,
Okay.
get people's environment set up.
Hacker exploit #1.
You can't view the message history and announcements in case this was intended. I will fix that in the announcements. I'll fix it after this chat.
Ooh, also, just I guess another quick announcement. Please change your name. It's like your
I just fixed it.
your name.
One more.
Could you say that one more time?
You guys have seen my book?
Oh yes, we haven't done our insert into Mr. Larry's awesome book, Cyber Operations.
Advertisement.
Get that. It's $50 off if you buy it before Monday.
Oh, okay, let me post the link on A-Press, right?
Yep.
All right.
And RJ bought the paper version. I don't know. I think he needs to prop up his car or something. But get the e-version. It's $12 between now and Sunday or Monday. After that, it goes back to $65.
Actually, to just add on that, if I bought a paper version, and I also got a copy of the e-version. So
Right, so I get the e-version and a car stomp.
Sentence.
Okay, so there's a couple more questions. I am equally worried. Okay, let's have jobs. I'm not sure on that one. I would have to do more research.
Yeah, private sector, it's a bit easier. Government would be a little bit harder.
Yes. I was a little late, but when are the weekly meeting times? I will post that in announcements, but the weekly meeting times, I believe, are going to be Saturdays. I think Saturdays at like noon or 1, I believe. Are certain courses we should complete should be basic knowledge before participating? If not, what would you recommend for absolute beginner? Are there certain courses we should complete? No, like I think I started this club like at 175. I mean, there's basic knowledge. Well, do we want to recommend the sources like kind of like the beginner stuff, like kind of a little bit like over the wire ish?
So I'm gonna post like YouTube videos to how to download Box, how to install Linux ISO, and stuff.
Okay.
And then that'll kind of prepare us for next week as well. So it's gonna be in the beginners channel.
Yeah.
Culminating all the resources right now.
Okay.
Sorry, so we're going to be using VirtualBox. Is that right?
We can, yes, we'll use both VirtualBox and VMware.
That's actually something that we should probably decide.
Or do you want to? Okay. All right.
It honestly, I would say that it depends on how easy the process it is for most to get VMware, because I think we all have a preference towards VMware, and that's what we generally use. There's nothing wrong with VirtualBox, but we'll talk about it this week.
Okay.
I'll put links for both.
Okay.
Yeah, like, and I know we mentioned it a few minutes ago, but in professional environments, there's a VMware for like companies called ESXi, and let's just here's the gist of it. VMware makes over $6 billion a year. VirtualBox does not, so you can tell which one's gonna help more in your professional career.
Yeah.
VirtualBox is owned by a company named Oracle, which could buy VMware.
Oh, Oracle owns them. I did not know that.
Wow. Okay.
Do you really trust anything Oracle makes? That was the real question.
Oh God, no.
Point made.
All right. I don't know. Is there any more questions? Let me start unmuting some people.
All right.
Just another note, kind of on, as I'm posting or going to be posting YouTube videos. Do not hesitate to YouTube the hell out of everything. Like if you want to learn how to do something, YouTube is a vast, wide sea of cybersecurity information. Like a lot of the channels and places that I'll post and tutorials, like if you have a question on how to do something, be like, I want to hack Windows 7. Research. And then it's like, all right, the eternal blue vulnerability with Metasploit. I want to download Metasploit. Here's how to do Metasploit. YouTube has so much on this field. It is insane. Just a note.
Well, also, if anyone wants a little sneak peek of what's to come in the CTF channel, I posted some things that like just snapshots I taken from random various previous CTFs.
What?
And I usually do the Windows team, so those are from the Windows side. So you can see like remote shells running as some random user, permissions being taken away from me to run stuff by trusted installer. That really hurt.
So what Linux distro are we going to use? We're going to use a wide variety of systems, because I know because like some offer Ubuntu. Usually the ones that we'll do is like ones from competitions like Ubuntu and CentOS. Those are the main two ones. I even know, like, personally, I have my own Linux distro that I would love to use, but usually it's either Ubuntu, Debian, or Red Hat stuff like CentOS for the most part. Let's see this. All right. Well, if there is any more questions. Oh, there's more. Do you guys use Kali? Yes, we do.
Kali Linux, for those who don't know, is a Debian Linux distribution that is geared towards security research as well as forensic and offensive security management. I think there's a little bit of an operational context there too. You can definitely look into it. It can be installed. It's just a Linux ISO, so it can be installed to a virtual machine, and you can play around and look and get feely with it. Especially if you're interested in offensive security or forensics, it is something that you will use quite often.
So, okay, Joseph asked, the next meeting. So the next meeting, when will we go over the downloads together and really dive in? Yes, that's for the next meeting. We're just gonna start downloading. We're gonna set up our virtual environments and do a couple of things next meeting. And can we put the PowerPoint in chat for itself instead of just in general chat? I will have to see. I don't know what the maximum size for files in the channel. I don't think so. I don't know how much.
Created a notes channel.
Yeah. Just to make sure Saturdays are 11 a.m. when we meet. I think, well, we're still trying to figure out when exactly, I believe, because we want to accommodate for everyone's time, but we want to make it on Saturdays. I know we want to try to make it on Saturdays at 1 or noon, but it depends upon how everyone's time is on this day. And we'll send I think we'll send a poll. Poll on Slack? Wait, do we have to do a process for people to get on Slack, right? Or is Slack just a free invite type thing?
They have to email.
If aren't on Slack, just email me and I put them on. We've got about 400 people on the Slack, but they go back a couple of years.
Okay, so I will post Mr. Larry's email.
400 people. So what you're saying is we should at everyone every day.
All right, yeah. Sorry for the delay. I'm just looking for the Microsoft Evaluation Center.
All right. Let's see. Is Slack used more often than Discord? Slack is used for like messaging, PMing announcements. I will personally relay them out to Discord, but we will be using Discord for more meetings. So it's just best to just check both. There you go. Announcements. I'll post that in announcements. Everyone.
All right, cool. So just a transition real quick. Yeah, so I'll also post this link, Towson-CIS.onthehub.com. And this is, again, you just put in your credentials, like Josh said before. And then you just sign in. I just put them in here before. And then we can download.
Where or who do we express interest to when we want to compete in one of the team competitions? I guess relay that to one of the admins, and especially relay that to the admins. I know RJ is the main on that one when it comes to like CCDCs and other major competitions. But you can relay it to people who have the admin roles on their chat, and they will note you down if you want to participate.
Nice. All right, sweet. So if everyone could just look at my stream again, right here. This is where we download VMware. So for Windows, it's this little green one right here, VMware Workstation 15. And you also get a key that you just got to put in once you open the player. And for Macs, you're going to want to use Fusion 11.
Yep, I can see it.
I see it.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Sweet. So yeah, here I have some VMs. You don't need to worry about that. But yeah, so you just go to, it's gonna make a new virtual machine. We use custom. Yeah, workstation 15x compatibility. And then right here in the PowerPoint, I posted the URL where we can get some of these disk images. But yeah, so we're just gonna choose one. We're gonna do the Windows one because I believe that's easiest. So in my case, I have it on an external hard drive just because these are pretty big, like 15 gigs for some of them. The Linux ones aren't as bad. So I have ISOs for various operating systems like Windows 10, Server 2016, 12, 12R2, and 12R2 is going to be the. Oh, you're getting a black box.
Yeah, I just see a big black box on your stream.
Oh, that's weird. Thanks for the heads up.
It's the VMware.
RJ, you're just streaming the VMware tab that you like created. You're not. It won't go to anything else.
Okay.
You might have to just share your screen.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, you shared the application instead of the screen.
Yeah.
Thanks. I feel like some of my professors now. Alright. Cool. Is that a little better?
There's still a black box.
I mean, you have to go back to what you were doing.
Why is there a black box? Yeah, it's weird. I can't see my own stream. So sorry for all these inconveniences there. So you have Chrome open. I guess you can't see that right now.
No, we can see it now.
We can see that.
Yeah, we can see your
Okay,
microphone,
cool.
Microsoft.
All right.
Sweet. Yeah. So on this website, Microsoft.com, English US Evaluation Center.
Yep.
And you can get a ton of beautiful Windows ISOs. So we got some of the new ones like 2019. We're gonna try out 2012 R2 just because I've been seeing these used so much in competitions recently. And you're gonna want to choose ISO, and it'll ask you to continue, and you just gotta put in some information, whatnot. Don't lie on your email because that's where they email you the key so you can get full functionality. All right, so let me go back to VMware. Just scream really loudly if there's a problem. All right. Is there still a black box now, or good?
Nope, you're good.
No, you're good.
Oh, thank you guys. All right, cool. So yeah, so we're just gonna choose the custom installation here after we click File, New Machine. Then we're just gonna click Next. Keep it on the default. Now we're gonna choose our disk image. So in that case, from that website, after you download your ISO, all you gotta do is insert it. So this is just where I saved it on my computer. So we're gonna do 2012 R2. Yep, Windows Server 2012 R2 is detected, so our disk image doesn't seem to be corrupted. Click Next. Just give it a name. What do you just name it Cyber Test? And then I'm just gonna save it somewhere else. It's my external hard drive. And I like to make a new folder for everything because you'll see in a sec. And just click it to confirm it. Okay, cool. So that's where it's going to install. Now this is Windows, so we're going to choose BIOS. We're not going to worry about UEFI right now. It's just a type for the boot order. Then click Next. And this is depending on your hardware. But for Windows, I like to do 2, but you should be fine. I'm just going to keep it with 2 gigs of RAM for now. Might regret that later. So if you want internet, which I need, we're going to use NAT because this is just going to translate the VMware network to your real IP to the internet, and vice versa. Just going to use network address translation. And it won't even let you choose a different SCSI controller. And now here we're going to keep it as a SCSI virtual disk type. We're going to create a new virtual disk because it's the new VM. Keep it to 60. You can, honestly, actually keep it as 40 probably, or 50. Okay, so this part's a little important. If you're going to be moving this VM to different systems, which in my case happens a lot, I'm going to split it into multiple files. And or you can keep it as a single file, but it's a little more resource intensive. So I'm just going to click next. Yeah, just keep that same. And then, yeah, just power on after it's made. Yeah, so now it's just doing its thing here in the player. Ignore that for now. So now you see the little Windows logo being slow. Cool. So yeah, my language is English. I live in the U.S. Oh, just a fun little story. Someone put this as a British keyboard one time, and all their keys were messed up. And then I just click next, install.
Oh, hold up one sec. There's a quick question from Nav asking, will this be posted on Discord later? I have to get off. The PowerPoint, we're going to try to figure out if we can post that on Discord. I will figure out later on a way to post the recording. But, yes. Short answer, yes. Continue.
Thanks. Yeah, so here you get a few options. So this is server core. So you're basically just going to get command prompt. And this is the standard. Here's the one that we're going to choose for now with the GUI. And these two are for data centers. So like if you were just putting this in like a server in a data center, you'd want to choose those. But for us, we're going to stick with Windows Server 2012 R2 standard evaluation, since we're just going to run it locally with server with the GUI. Because yeah, then you get all the fun, this stuff. I'm just clicking next. And just accept the EULA. And now we're going to do custom install. And this is the 50 gig hard drive, the amount of space I located before when we did the whole new VM setup. And we want to use this. You can do fancy partitioning in the future once everyone gets really good with it. And yeah, so some of the stuff does take it's a little slow. So I do apologize for that. So while this loads, just shoot your questions. If you have any.
Oh, another question. For security track in general, do you find 16 gigabytes of RAM to be sufficient? Uh, hmm. 8? That's a great question. Especially for security tracks, because you deal a lot with virtualization. I would say 8 gigs of RAM, in my opinion, is sufficient. Well, it's the bare minimum. 18 if you want, 16 if you want to feel comfortable, but 8 you can get by.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, so I just want to, follow up with that question also. I mean, it really depends on what your plan is or what you are trying to accomplish, really, because, I mean, if you just want to do offensive, stuff, then I think that's 8 gigabyte, 16, I think that's enough. But I mean, if you're gonna, you know, do the route that I'm trying to, that I'm doing right now, which is the offensive and defensive, you're gonna need a whole lot more because, that means you're gonna have to have your intrusion detection system in place, something like a security onion, which the minimum RAM you need to have for that is about 8 gig just to have that IPS on your in your lab environment. So it really depends on what you're trying to do.
True. Doing that would be kind of like a more of a home lab type setup, so you require a lot more.
Yeah, so I bought myself an Power Edge Dell server, and it comes with like 192 gigabyte of RAMs and
Damn.
about 15 terabytes. So I'm doing a whole lot in it because I wanna I'm doing offensive and defensive security. So yeah, depends on
Definitely.
what you're trying to do.
Definitely. Hazma asks, why do I need to install it on an external hard drive? You don't need to install an external hard drive. It's just that's what RJ did because that's for his test setup. You would, for the most part, it doesn't really matter where you install it. If it's fast enough, you would usually just install it on your internal hard drive for that. You can install an external hard drive if you have the speed for it. It really doesn't matter. This is just what RJ's doing.
Oh yeah, no, Steam takes up all my storage. That's why I have an external hard drive. You really don't need to worry about that at all. Just Civ mods and stuff. Well, also, Turin, just to go back to your question, yeah, my computer right now only has 12 gigs, and this is running fine. I could run like 3 or 4 of these all at once without an issue, so I wouldn't worry too much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Maybe I should have let someone with gigabit Ethernet speed do this.
I've been dealing with struggles with Comcast all night with their internet. It's beautiful. I love Comcast. I can't switch providers. I love it. I love it. I know. Don't get me started on Fios.
He's right.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, just download more. Actually, John, I do have like almost 200 gigs of RAM sitting in a box, but it's not compatible with this computer.
I guess in the meantime, as you wait for this to install, because this is gonna take a minute, because it's Windows Server.
Yeah.
I guess we could. I mean, if you guys want to, you want to talk about the projects you've been doing, working on, like the personal projects I've been working on. It's mostly server stuff. I'm trying to build my home lab.
Ooh, John, what kind of projects are you working on?
So would you like the computer engineering project first or the more security project first?
I guess security.
All right. So there's this wonderful app. There's this wonderful pre-built ISO available called Tourbox, and essentially it is a pre-made Raspbian proxy box meant to run Tor network services, SOCKS proxies, etc. And it's meant to operate as either a bridge from your machine to the to your whatever internet you're connecting to, or on your network to act as any other router would. It's meant to run on the Raspberry Pi 3 and 4, and that is because those come built in with wireless and Ethernet. So the idea is that you'd plug the Ethernet into your laptop at a coffee house. You'd have the wireless connect to the public Wi-Fi. It's going to push all your traffic through Tor. It's going to get you past the captive portal. More secure connection. You could also do it reverse, where you do Wi-Fi to Ethernet if, say, you're on a home network. Like at my house, I have it plugged into my router, and then I just connect to it via Wi-Fi. What I'm trying to do, and it's kind of going well, getting some of the, because if you've ever done stuff with pfSense and other networking-based operating systems and control stuff, it gets a little resource intense. And so I'm trying to reduce it down so it will work on a Pi Zero, and it will just be a plug and play. Because the Raspberry Pi Zeros, the Ws, have built-in Wi-Fi, which would allow the wireless connection, and you can connect data via USB. So the idea would be a plug-and-play proxy stick for Tor. The problem I'm running into is some resource management. So I'm trying to figure out what can I trim from it, what's the bare minimum I need, and how can I get it to be set up so it's literally just burn the ISO on the SD, plug it into the Pi Zero, plug it into your laptop, you're done.
Nice. That sounds pretty cool.
That's awesome, and it is x64-bit architecture in 86.
ARM. It's running on Raspbian.
Nice.
Sweet. Does it eat bandwidth like left and right?
I mean, if you're running on the default wireless card of the Raspberry Pi, it's eh. You can upgrade it to an antenna, just plug it into the USB ports, but they have power consumption issues, which it's also you can figure that one out.
All right, cool. So on our VM, it looks like we got our stuff ready done. It's already did the installation, which took a long time. So now I'm assuming RJ is just setting up his passwords and just getting through the startup process.
Yep, just put in a password. I think for 2012 R2, has to be something like 8 characters. First letter has to be capital. I think you need 3 numbers. So this is also based on Windows 8, so be aware. Okay, yeah. So if you do Control Delete, you're just gonna go to your real computer's task manager. So if you do Control Alt Insert, that's how you just bypass it without going to your actual computer. Just input your password. Enter. Okay, yeah, in this case I'll turn it on so I can get network share. Cool. And as you can see, it's really similar to like your regular Windows desktop if you all are Windows users. Here's the big difference. So since it's a server, and a server is mostly defined as a machine able to give resources to other machines, you have some pretty cool built-in Windows features. So this loads, there we go. Add roles and features. Give you a quick little tour, I guess. So we don't like reading. Cool. So role-based. So if you want to do remote desktop, this is so like from another computer, you can just RDP in. So like if I just put in the IP or the host name of the machine, then I can actually get like remote access to it depending on my network configuration. That's what that is, the second one. The first one is we get some cool Windows feature that Microsoft has built. So just specify your current host. And now this is the big one, Active Directory domain services. So I guess the best example for this, and Dr. O'Leary, I think you can add stuff on too if you want, or anyone else. So you know how on all the Towson network, like if you go to the library or whatnot, you can sign into the machine and like on any of them with like your Towson ID, like your credentials. That's pretty much what Active Directory does, and a lot more. So like I could have different services, like let's say I have like a ticketing system at home, and I just want to use one centralized sign-in for everything. I could sign into like that service using my Active Directory credentials, and that's called LDAP. But we'll get more into that later on. You also get DNS, so that's how I'm able to put in like Google.com. But You can do that with your own internal stuff. IIS, which is Windows like web server. Don't use it, please. Windows Server Update Services. So this is like centralized update repository. So you can update tons of Windows computers just by pushing the updates to 1 and so on. And yeah, I guess I'll set up Active Directory now. So there's a little bit of a prerequisite when setting up Active Directory. I'll show you. The Windows, some of them are not that bad at all. So if you go in here, IP config, just to get your Internet Protocol configuration. So here you can see the system host name. I know a lot of you guys know this command already. Local domain, because we didn't set up an 81. So these are the addresses that VMware is just giving me by default. So as you can see here, my default gateways 192, 168, 175.2. A lot of these settings are really important for when you're configuring different things. And as you can see, I do have internet. That's why we use NAT before when setting this up. Oh yeah, the default Windows thing, it's pretty hard in Internet Explorer. But yeah, so I can install any kind of feature I want. And yeah, you just got a ton of pretty neat options. And I really recommend everyone here learn PowerShell, get all the commands. And let me just check the PowerShell version here. Forgot the command off the top of my head. But anyway, yeah, that's the little introduction to virtualization. And the next few weeks, we're gonna start setting up services.
All right. So, let's see if there's any more questions. I guess there's no more questions as well. Is there anything else any of the admins want to provide? Any additional notes, informations like that? I guess not.
I got nothing.
Oh, okay. So we would like to thank you all for coming. It's a great first start. I'm happy. Hopefully, you guys can come back next week. We can get all this stuff started. We can get everything set up and ready. We can do a lot, even though it's all online this semester. Even though I don't know what the rec center was posting that one time on Twitter, but even though everything is going to be online, we still have a lot of things that we can do, and there's still a lot of things that could be learned and accomplished. So I hope this interest meeting was helpful and resourceful to you all, and I would like to thank you again for coming. Thank you guys.
Thanks everyone for coming. In the notes channel too, I just posted a link to our SharePoint. We keep a lot of notes from previous years on here. And if you want to upload anything too, just let me know. You just got to also email Dr. O'Leary asking for access, and just give him the link that I put in there. It'll ask you for access.
All right.
So, sorry, Dr. O'Leary, you're about to get 1,000 emails.
All right. Thank you so much for coming. Meeting is officially over.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
We
Thank
should
you
get
for
some
coming.
outro music.
I know. See, I'm gonna do next time. I'm gonna have a music bot, and then I'm gonna just like put in song. Yup. I got you. Next meeting, we're definitely gonna have more bots in here to help moderate and ease into it, because we just got permanent silence here. But
here, hold on. I got this.
Oh my god. Are you doing it through the microphone? Oh, yes, he is. Okay.
Maybe.
All right, then. Well, thank you guys for coming. Yeah, you can continue chatting. Keep us posted if anything going on. Don't forget to email Mr. O'Leary if you're not in the Slack channel. See. Yeah. See you guys later. I'm gonna stay here for I guess 20 more minutes to see if anyone has any more additional questions.